Over the next few days, Ned tried his best to exchange even the smallest number of words with Rolf, who visited at regular intervals with his steel bowl and syringe, sometimes bringing with him fresh dressings, a plastic bottle to urinate into, and flasks of soup, which Ned was only allowed to drink through a shiny steel tube. Rolf proved entirely uncommunicative. Ned decided that he couldn't speak English. Dr. Mallow, whom he had not seen since, had spoken with an accent that might have been German or Scandinavian, so it seemed logical that Rolf, too, was foreign. No, Ned was the foreigner. Wherever he might be, it was far from England. The black nightmare of his day, or days in the pain and dark, was proof of that. Distant seagull cries gave Ned the impression that he was close to the sea, perhaps even on an island. Some instinct told him that he was somewhere north. Perhaps it was the nature of the light that made him so sure. Perhaps it was his interpretation of Dr. Mallow's accent, which he now believed may have been Scandinavian. That would accord, too, with the sharp blue of Rolf's eyes and the silver blondness of his hair. Ned began to use the periods of physical pain and mental clarity that attended him for the hour or so before each injection to consider his circumstances. He decided after a while that it was not the nature of the light that told him he was in a northern country. It was its steadiness, its constancy. No matter at what time Ned awoke, the sky outside his window was always bright, or at the most in a state of gentle twilight. At this time of year, Ned knew, the farther north you travelled, the shorter the hours of darkness. The night he had sailed on the Orfana for Oban, the night Paddy died, it had been dark for only the briefest time. Ned was sure that Oliver Delft's colleague, Mr. Gain, was mad or criminal. He had beaten and broken Ned and taken him away with two evil, ugly, violent and malevolent psychopaths whose dead and brutal eyes would haunt Ned forever. He had arrived here, where he was being treated kindly and with consideration, yet kept tied to his bed in a locked room with bars on its window. What could that mean? Somewhere, Oliver Delft and Ned's father would be looking for him. Perhaps Mr. Gain was demanding a ransom. Ned was sure enough of Delft's skill and his father's influence to feel confident that he would not get away with it. But meanwhile, what could his father be thinking? And Portia, what of her? He was puzzled that it should be so, but it was his father, not Portia, who visited him in the loud and vivid dreams that filled his sleeping hours. In his waking moments, when he pictured what he would do when he got back, when he thought of home and school and the places and people that he knew, Portia's image was never there. Ned was not worried that he had to force her to his mind. He supposed that he was frightened she would have been angry at his disappearance. She might have believed that he had run away from her. Perhaps she even feared that she had disappointed him somehow during their afternoon in his bedroom, and that he had escaped like a coward at the first opportunity. When this whole nonsense had been cleared up, Ned would take her away to a country inn, and they would get to know each other all over again. For the moment, Ned hoped that Rolf might at least bring him something to read. When his straps were loosened, he could sit up easily now, and he believed he could move his right shoulder and the muscles of his upper body well enough to handle books. Reading would help pass the time, which was beginning to hang more and more heavily as the pain receded and the drugs began to have less and less hold over his mind. Besides, the school had given him a reading list at the end of the summer term, and Ned didn't want to be left behind.